What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today we're going to be taking a very close look at something that appears to be a bug in Gotham Knights. Now, I say appears to be because I'm not certain if this is how they actually made the tutorial on purpose, or if this is something that is an animation interaction glitch that can happen in Unreal Engine. And so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So if the developers are probably looking at different, audience members' feeds or forums, they probably have seen this. But shout out to TB Gang, who's an audience member here, who's been trying to call my attention to this. I appreciate this very much because I did not see this, and I've watched this gameplay reveal multiple times. So the exact location of this particular so-called, in quote, glitch, because again, I want to make sure that we're correct, we're just making some presumptions here, is where Batgirl is actually doing takedowns, silent takedowns on those hallways in that, university campus or that campus building. And so when she gets to the third enemy that is actually dumping gasoline on fire, it gives her the option to do either an ambush takedown or another takedown variation. So the person who's actually playing, I think they picked the silent takedown. And as they pick the silent takedown, something peculiar happens. Now, this is something where the enemy NPC is dumping gasoline on fire, so they have a gas can in their hands. But as she does that, takedown, the enemy NPC's gas can somehow disappears. She goes into an A pose, which is pretty much a skeleton pose, and Batgirl starts to do the takedown in a way that, the enemy NPC reacts. She throws away her baseball bat, falls out of her hand, and Batgirl is able to take her down. So if you watch it very carefully, you're going to see that this is exactly what happened. Now, here's the thing. This could be a tutorial, and so they decided that they were just going to leave it as a base reaction so that you can just say, okay, I'm learning how to do this. But usually this is not the case. Tutorials usually follow like gameplay. It's just that small game mode that's going to have these rules like, oh, take out 3 people with, stealth takedowns, or, take out 4 people with a headshot. Like, if you were playing Middle-earth Shadow of War. So this, in my opinion, is leaning more into bug area for me than say it's just a tutorial design. And the reason I say that is because doing these kinds of animations in Unreal Engine is actually pretty interesting. It's quite challenging for, a lot of people to do. Now, there are tutorials for you to do it on YouTube. So if you have a very, nice computer that can run Unreal Engine, I encourage you to actually go ahead and do a tutorial for stealth takedowns. This is how you can appreciate game development more. So we're not always jumping on the developer saying, oh, the devs suck. There's no need to do that. They're trying their best to do their jobs. And so if this is something that they missed or something that they hadn't fixed before this gameplay, then, it is what it is. We're pointing it out now. I guess the terrible thing would be to see it in the game when it's released in October. That's when we can jump on them, and you can always wait for reviews if you don't want to put your money on animations that are not necessarily fine-tuned. Now, the issue here is the animation transitions. This is a very interesting thing to do because it takes a lot of programming and it takes a whole bunch of different parameters. I'm not going to pretend or attempt, to speak on being an expert in animation in Unreal Engine, but I have spent a lot of time in the animation systems, and Unreal Engine's animation system, I wish it didn't exist. I promise you, it is very hard, very complicated. Everything can be done like 50 different ways, and you can use 50 different formats to format your anime. It's insane. So this animation, nonetheless, requires interactions based on conditions and possibly functions. Now, the problem, though, is the enemy NPC, there needs to be some kind of an animation transition depending on the state of the enemy NPC when you choose your takedown methodology. In the Arkham games, sometimes they'll use, say, cameras. And not only the Arkham games, some other games would do a camera thing where the enemy NPC, would change their animation and act like surprised or shocked, like, oh, somebody is right behind me. And then by then you put your arms around them, or, you put them in a chokehold, or maybe you cover their mouth and then you do the animation. Some other games have a very smooth animation transition, regardless of where the enemy NPC is or regardless of what they're doing. The animation will smoothly transition that enemy NPC into the arms or into the hold of the main character that's trying to do the chokehold. Like if you're playing, say, the Assassin's Creed games or whatever it is, you're going to notice that, those are things that are done very well. say, for instance, Elden Ring, if you do say a critical strike, which is pretty much going to the back of an enemy NPC, whether they're aware of you or not, you're also going to notice that the enemy NPC kind of like stands in a interesting way, but they don't go into the A pose like this enemy did, because this enemy literally lost the gas can automatically, and then somehow in that same hand, her baseball bat appears. So this to me appears to be some kind of a bug, and would more than likely probably have been on the priority of their fixes by now. And if it hasn't, then we're pointing it out here in the community. So this is a really big deal. This is why work in progress is something that you really have to pay very close attention to. And even when they're doing all these reveals, you know, we still haven't heard about the game going gold or not. So August, we have 1 month, about 2 months and a bit more, you know, days or a few more weeks, and we're going to get the game. Now, is this a big thing for them to deal with? Not at all. The animation system is already built. All they need to do is go ahead and add a few more parameters to be able to allow for this transition to be much more of a smooth playthrough. If at all, they can actually solve this. And I doubt that they're going to find this a difficult thing to solve. But I just wanted to point it out in this video. This is one of those really fun things that this community does. And I always say the delays that we got for Gotham Knights has been more of a blessing than a curse, because we've had a lot of time to look at a lot of things surrounding this game. And here's one of those things right here in front of us. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys so much. Talk to me in the comment section. What do you think? And shout out to you once again, TB Gang. Thanks for pointing this out to me. Peace out.